Hello, my fellow hootlings. How are you all today? Oh, I forgot to mute myself. Well, that's a great start. Let's try that again, shall we? Hello, my fellow hootlings, and welcome to your new podcast with Moa. And together with me today, so far, we have Kelly Day. Say hello, Kelly.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I come to you from the land of Canada.
As people probably will have guessed from the title, we are doing something a little differently today. You see, I have this upcoming trip, and I will soon be on the plane to cross the Atlantic for the very first time in my life. Yes, the owl is flying. And I'll be landing in New York and going on a small tour. But besides New York, Canada will be before the other three states I'll be visiting. So let's start with Canada, shall we?
Excellent. What do you want to know?
Well, in Canada, what would you say is the most attractive natural landscape?
That's a tough one. Canada is very big, and
Mm.
we have a lot of diverse geographical areas. But my personal favorite, I'm from pretty much dead center prairie land. It's very flat and windy here. We don't have a lot of rocky areas. So my favorite is BC, British Columbia. So it's a province on the very far west side. And I've lived all the way on the coast, very pretty, nice low lying mountains, nice warm temperatures, sort of like England type temperatures. And then if you go in a little ways, you get the Rocky Mountains, and it's pretty much a province full of rugged mountains and wild animals and rushing rivers. It's beautiful.
Mm. But what would you describe as the most beautiful in your eyes?
In my eyes, I would say the area of Jasper, which is right on the border between Alberta and British Columbia, is probably my favorite mountain spot. Also, where I got engaged over Thanksgiving. So maybe it's partly because
Oh,
of that. But um,
congratulations!
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, he took me out to a beautiful waterfall, which are probably
Aww.
my favorite landscapes. So we have lots of really nice waterfalls, and Jasper has a ton of them. And it's not as touristy. You might have heard of Banff, but Banff is very expensive and a little bit snobby
I've
for my liking.
actually not heard about Banff.
Oh, it's beautiful. You have to look at some pictures. It's very common for tourists, but you have to have a lot of money, kind of thing. So I don't like
Ooh.
going places that are all uppity. I'm kind of casual. So, but I also really love where I live, which is the prairies, and I live right on the edge of the forest, so I can take my dogs for walks in the woods, and I find it just as beautiful here. So yeah, Canada. I love Canada overall. It's beautiful everywhere.
Nice. So you got proposed to in front of a waterfall?
He sure did. Yeah, he knows me
That's so
well, so
romantic.
I agree. I have to admit, I was pretty proud. He's like, "Did I do good?" Yeah. Oh yeah, you did good. So,
Like a
yeah, it was.
puppy wanting validation.
That's right. No, it was very very nice. Took me on a trip to the mountains, and we went for a nice hike down to the bottom of these waterfalls, and there was no one around, so got this really pretty pictures with the mountains in the background, and yeah, it was something else.
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned British Columbia. Ain't that in the
Mhm.
east?
British Columbia is our westernmost province, so
Oh, so it's a little bit far off there.
a little bit. You won't be anywhere close. You'd have to take Canada's so big, you'd have to fly for probably about 4 or 5 hours in a jet to get to Vancouver if you wanted. So, yeah, it's pretty big.
Oh yeah, Vancouver, I do believe, is in the west.
Yeah, they're the west, kind of very far west, right on the west coast. So like Seattle, so you got lots of rain. They're very pretty as well. It's a really big city, but I lived out on Vancouver Island, which is the island just past there, and it's really neat. They've got a lot of kind of hippies and stuff out there, so it's really relaxed, and yeah, it's kind of a cool place to be. I don't know if you guys have heard internationally of BC Bud, if anybody partakes in cannabis, but that's where, the world famous cannabis tends to come from, is the west coast of Canada. So that's a fun fact.
Huh. Well, over here in Norway, cannabis is still illegal,
I was
so
wondering. Yeah, interesting. I'm surprised. You guys are usually ahead of us with things like that. So,
yeah, it's still considered a drug here
hmm.
and not even medicinal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we legalized it this past year, but it was legal for medical users prior to that. So,
Oh yeah, I remember when Canada started going 420, 420.
yeah. Although on the West Coast, long before it was legal, it's very commonly known. It's funny. I took my dad there when I lived there. My parents came to visit, and they're more old fashioned. And we were walking down by the beach, and he says, "I smell a skunk." And I said, "Dad, that's not a skunk." And there was two guys just smoking a joint on the side on a bench, and it's illegal. But the cops didn't care because there was so much else going on. There's way bigger drugs and stuff out there, so they just ignored. It's kind of funny. So yeah, there's lots of hippies out on the very west coast. So BC has that area, and then they have kind of a more rugged interior, really big mountains. Not as many people live there because it's very harsh climate, but it's beautiful. And then it goes all the way to Alberta. It's just mountains everywhere you go.
It smelled like a skunk.
Yeah, oh, in Nanaimo, it just because he didn't realize that that was the smell of cannabis or of marijuana, so he thought it was a skunk because it does have sort of that kind of skunk smell or whatever. So yeah, he was. I told him, "Dad, that's not what that is." He thought that was pretty funny. So
Jolly Rogers Bilgewater says in the chat, it is a drug regardless. The issue is legality versus
Mhm.
money. That's very true,
Yes,
Jolly. Very true.
that is very true. Yeah, exactly. It is still, and that's where here, we're not sure how it's going to go because it's only been not even a year, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's been bought up by big businesses, and I'm not sure. From what I've heard, people aren't happy with the way they're packaging it. It's using a lot of plastic, so it's bad for the environment. And I think I've heard people say medical people are having more trouble now. So it's kind of interesting. They legalized it for the social people, made it harder for people who need it for medicine. So
Yeah. I've heard a lot about Trudeau in the news. How does that
mhm.
affect the general Canadian citizen?
Well, Trudeau, I voted for Trudeau back in 2015. I didn't like any of the other options, and I was pretty liberal minded then. But it depends who you ask. Generally speaking, he's not very well liked. Most people that voted for him regret it. So he's very, very liberal. He talks a lot about gender, gender and feminism. So, but he's not very sincere. And so he's starting to come off as a bit of a joke. He's embarrassed us a few times. Um, he likes his selfies and he likes to do stupid things on camera. So, we'll see. He's actually in a big scandal. He might have to resign right away here. So,
Huh, what type of
Mhm.
scandal?
Just started 2 weeks ago. Canada got some interesting politics finally. Like America always has crazy soap opera politics, and we always have boring politics. But now there's a big scandal with a company, big construction company that was working in Libya, and there's a bunch of scandal with money that was spent and prostitutes that were bought for Gaddafi's son, and it's a whole big thing. And they had someone lie. They had one of the workers lie, and now she's come forward and told them about how he pressured her to lie. So yeah, it's been all over the news here lately.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a confusing long story that I won't bore you all with, but yeah, he's in a bit of trouble. So
Well, I'm not that surprised. It has been quite heated about him.
yes, this is true. Some people still like him, but a lot of people really hate him and they make fun of him because he always wears such fancy socks. He always has some, stylish socks and fancy nice hair, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. So people like to call him Socks McGee or Mr. Socks or there's meaner names. I won't say them on your channel.
Thank you. I do have minors in my server
Of
watching,
course.
so
Yeah. Fair enough.
just pushing out the tweet that we're live.
Sure. Right on.
Yeah. There we go. And let's see, what else could I ask? Let's see, what does the chat say?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
He says, in the US at least, when states figure out an effective way to tax it, it'll be legal everywhere.
That's
Evening, by the
probably
way,
true.
lol. Prostitutes? What is this? Montreal?
Actually, funny they should say that because I think most of the scandal is coming out of Quebec. So there you go. It might be Montreal actually. That's funny.
And then he goes and says something about having to go harder or even being required to because minors might be watching. Well, Jolie, you're not a butt pirate for nothing. But yeah, do you mind if I ask you which part of Canada you reside in? Like,
Yeah,
is
of
it
course.
west? Is it the middle, east?
Yeah, I live in central Canada, so I live in the province of Saskatchewan. It's a nice long name that no one can pronounce. The GPS always says it wrong. And so
Saskatchewan, isn't it?
Saskatchewan, yep. So it's a long word. It's an Aboriginal or First Nations word. And so we have about 1 million people. We're not very big population wise, but we're probably, I don't know how big we are compared to Norway. We have a lot of land. And only about half of the province has people living on it or in it. So it's a very spacious farming area. We do lots of agriculture, wheat, corn,
Well,
all kinds of
it
different
definitely
crops.
sounds like you get enough privacy.
Oh, yes, definitely. So I live in a city of about 60,000 people. And then as soon as you leave the city, there's lots of open space and trails and, farmers' fields. So, yeah, there's lots of, we're known as, our motto is the land of living skies because we have such open skies and beautiful sunsets and beautiful sunrises. So,
That does sound gorgeous.
but it's very cold here. So if you ever come to Saskatchewan, you have to get a very warm jacket because it was minus 40 degrees Celsius for 3 weeks this winter.
Oh, minus 40. That sounds
Yeah.
like the Norwegian tundra.
Yeah, it is like tundra, exactly.
Yeah. So it would be quite heated during the day, at least in the sun, and then icy cold at night.
Yeah, just frigid. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
usually around minus 25 to 30 and then
But
drops.
is it mostly dry air?
Yeah, we have dry cold here. It's a
That's a
little,
good thing. That's a good thing
yeah,
because
it
that
is.
means it'll feel warmer.
That's right, exactly. You go
At
in
least in
and
the sun.
warm up by the fire, and you can warm up faster. When I lived
Mhm.
on the West Coast, the temperatures weren't as low, but I had a hard time warming up because it just felt like it was cold in my bones. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We got memes of destruction in the chat going, "Hi guys, what's going on?" Well, we're kind of going, "Oh, Canada."
We are
You probably
Canucks.
could say that better than me.
I've sang the anthem a few times. That's true. Not on a live stream, though.
That would be interesting. Fully up to you, though. No pressure.
By the way, I like your Ralph meme there. That's very cute
Oh
on
yeah, you mean on
Twitter.
the Twitter? Yeah.
Yeah. I like I
That's what
like The
it said.
Simpsons, so that made me laugh, yeah.
Well, we will be ending with a little bit on New York at the very end, so I thought it was fitting.
Yes, absolutely. And what is that? Finland right beside? I can't tell who
It
he
might
is.
be. I don't really remember that episode that much,
No, me neither.
but it was very fitting considering both Canada and the US is in that GIF.
Yes, it's perfect.
And what now? Jolly. That's bad language.
Uh-oh.
And what do you mean I've been listening to Arrakis too much? Memes of Destruction actually hung out with a bunch of Canadians down in Florida when he visited his dad.
Oh, cool. And what did you think? Are we nice? And do we say A too much?
I don't know, eh?
I noticed today at work that I was talking to an older gentleman and he said A, and I noticed that I said it too, and I thought, uh-oh, maybe we do say that more than I think we do.
That actually reminds me. Another stereotype is Canadians always being so polite and apologizing for everything. But on the other hand, I've also seen memes where the Canadians go, "Oh, we are polite until you anger us."
I was
What's
just
your
going to
take
say
on this?
I think that's probably right. We're pretty polite. That's true. We do say sorry a lot. But there's still our share of jerks, especially on Twitter and when you get into politics. There's no shortage of oh yeah, I can't swear. There's no shortage of buttholes. There you go. That's
That's acceptable.
but no, it's also very different, probably the same as Norway. We have people in small towns and farms, so rural people, and then we have city people, and rural people and city people are very different. So I will say probably rural people are more open and polite and wave at you and say hello on the street, but they have to live in a harsher climate, so they do have a harsh side to them because you do have, hardworking farmers that work 16-hour days or people that work in the oil field and they work for, long, very long, hard days. So there's a lot of gruff and tough bearded fellas around here too.
Who it sounded like you ended midways on that sentence.
Oh, I don't know why that is, but no, I was just saying there's a lot of like a lot of gruff kind of bearded men here too that aren't, they might be just tougher, like burly men, forest men.
Ah.
Yeah.
Meme's introduction says that the Canadians he hung out with were Italian Canadians. I've never heard about Italian Canadians.
There's a lot in Toronto because you're heading to Toronto, right?
I am heading to the area of South Ontario, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I think Southern Ontario, I don't know which city, but there's a really high number of Italian communities in that area. So not as many in the province that I live, but lots in Ontario. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Jolly says butt is actually a nautical term for casks that hold water or other fluids.
Well, then I guess my insult's not appropriate anymore.
Well, it could still be.
It could still be, but now I have to.
Brain.
Hey, there you go. I like your quick thinking.
So you could say butt brain.
Butt brain. Sure, we'll go with that.
It sounds silly enough, doesn't it?
Well, it might become my new favorite insult. No one will know what I'm talking about, and I'll say, Google it.
Yeah, I do know that there are some people who, by genetical error or disease, starts having water in their brain, and that can be deadly, even though in most cases it just means that they have a smaller brain. So it's still an appropriate insult, I would say.
I think it's actually fairly clever now that I think about it.
And it sounds so silly.
Well, thank you to your viewer. Taught us something.
Thank you, Jolly. Jolly also says 90% of Quebecois are worthless. What is your opinion on this?
Sorry, 90% of what was the question?
Quebecois, basically people in Quebec. He
Quebec.
also says
Quebecois, yes.
best Canada, if there is a best Canada.
That's okay. Yeah, Quebecois. So the French are very determined. They're very strong personalities, and they will tell you that too. French people in Canada are feisty. They have they just have an extra spirit. I feel like they have more spirit or something, but they've been here a really long time. So there's three main communities that settled in Canada in the beginning. So there's Aboriginal people, the first people here, and then we have the Quebec people that came, and then we had English people from Norway and various places, Britain, all over the place. So Quebec people are very proud, and some people in the West don't like Quebec people, but I know a few people and I really like Quebec. I just haven't been there yet. So yeah, but they have an older culture than a lot of us. So yeah, it's a unique group of people.
Jolly Roger also says, and scuttle is a term of tapping or drilling. So a scuttlebutt is just someone drilling holes in barrels. I guess we get yet another insult then, a scuttlebutt.
There you go. Scuttlebutt. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Memes says, I like beards. And then Jolly goes, I love my beard. Keeps my face warm when the air sucks.
Yes, that's great. That's right. Do you do a lot of men have beards in Norway? Like, do they have that ponytail and then the beard look?
Kind of depends. Like, if they're into metal, they often do. If they're a hipster, they might. If they're an older gentleman, like if there's an older gentleman, then they might.
Right.
but it's not as common as one would think, considering us being a Viking nation.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, the Viking nation, because my fiance he's got the Viking blood and he always has longer hair and well, it's shorter than mine, but longer hair and a big bushy beard. When we were in England,
Yeah,
um
that
we-
would be more in the metal culture of Norway.
okay. I guess he does like metal, although he's not really he doesn't seem like it, but yeah, I guess he does like metal music. So, but we noticed in England nobody had a beard like that. He felt like he was the only one that had a big bushy beard, so
Flying Falcon. Hi, Flying Falcon. He also says scuttlebutt is also a rumor or a drinking fountain. Huh.
Ooh.
So you could call somebody who's being thirsty a scuttlebutt? That makes it apply to females too. Awesome job.
You should just call this the insult creation hour.
Yes, yes. Silly creations. Silly insult creations. That's
From across the world.
yeah. Swear words that are acceptable for the youth.
There you go. That's right.
Oh, this is amazing.
You sound like you have some fun viewers.
Oh yes, yes. Flying Falcon, I believe is a subscriber that has followed over to my channel from Doc Griffin's stream.
Okay.
And Means of Destruction, I actually know on Discord.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And Jolly, I believe I mostly know from Rakus' streams. Shoutouts
Cool.
to everybody. Memes also says, I like Rumpfed Snipe. That's an interesting one.
I don't know that one either.
But back to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually not that difficult to say.
It's really not. I don't know why so many people struggle with it, but oh well. It's mostly actually just like Google Maps and those they can never say it. It always sounds really funny and robot like Saskatchewan. It's never quite right. But no, it's not that bad to say. It just kind of it's how it's spelt. That's all. But
Yeah, it seems pretty easy enough to say, in my opinion.
yeah, so I live in northern Saskatchewan. I was born on the very southern tip of Saskatchewan. I was actually born 20 minutes from the USA border. So I used to go golfing with my dad across the line because it was cheaper and they had a nice golf course. So
Well, there you have it. Canadians like scooching off of
there you go.
American golf fields.
Cheaper golf and cheaper potato chips.
Well, that's apparently their guilty pleasure. Going over the border for potato chips and golf.
That's right.
That is the Mexicans, huh?
I know us scary Canadians, eh?
Pretty harmless.
Pretty harmless. Yeah, so we live very close to the border, so lots of people would shop. It was 2 hours to the biggest city to go shopping. So often, instead of going up north, we would just go to the south and go shop in Minot in North Dakota was the name of it. Minot's a very small place, but I think it has an Air Force base, so...
Yeah, well, on your side of the border, you did say you grew up in the very south and that it's a very spacious province. Say it that way.
yes,
were there any particular sites or attractions you like to go to as a kid?
Yeah, we lived near a little town. There's a town called Roche-Percé, which is French actually for pierced rock. And there was really old rock formations from the Aboriginal people from years and years ago. So that was a neat place to go. You could climb the rocks and there was little carvings kind of in them. They've been worn down after all the years, but that was a nice place. We had a beautiful valley area, so you could go and spend time, tobogganing or just going for walks. But it was I spent lots of time outside because I was a farm kid. So I was always climbing trees and just being in nature, but it wasn't, it's a very harsh climate and very windy because there's no trees where I grew up. So very windy all the time, so it wasn't as fun to be outside.
Is that why you look so fit in your picture as opposed to the American stereotype? I gotta give them a jab, especially when they go in the chat, USA, USA, USA. I gotta jab at them.
I understand that. I'm more fit because of health reasons. So I've had lots of surgery, so I've had to be really careful with my diet. And then
Oh.
nowadays, now that I live more in the forest, I do a lot of walking and hiking with my dogs. So yeah, I keep pretty busy, and I'm on my feet at work too. So yeah, I'm always kind of moving around. But yeah, I'm very careful with my diet because of my health. So.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Is that something detrimental?
No, and I don't mind mentioning it. It's nothing that would kill me. It was just a very painful. I had endometriosis, so very painful. Women's
I have
health.
no clue what that is.
Yeah, you're lucky. It's a women's health disease. So I won't bore
Oh.
all of your possibly male viewers. They might be weirded out, but just a women's health issue that can cause a lot of pain and a lot of problems. And some women that have it can't have babies because of it. So yeah, it's a very it was very intense. I was sick for many, many years since I was 13. So yeah, I've tried lots of different foods and diets and you know natural health stuff and all that good stuff. So
Well, at
yeah.
least your reasoning for trying it all is of a more healthy reason than just going for a fad diet.
Yes, so true. And it's good because it makes you when you're sick when you're young, you really have to pay attention to if you're an overachiever, I was kind of an overachiever, so I would get stressed out. Well, now my body tells me when I have to relax. So it gives me it's easier for me to relax because I have no choice. So it's been good in some ways. It makes you take care of yourself because sometimes when we're young, we just treat our bodies like garbage, you know?
Hmm. I do know. I was quite the Coca-Cola addict. Nowadays, I still enjoy a good glass of Coca-Cola. I
Yeah, I used to be Pepsi for me, but Coke
Yeah,
is good
it was
too.
never Pepsi for me, but Coca-Cola, oh, I loved it. Now I drink more water, thankfully,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I still enjoy a good Coke now and then.
Oh, once in a while, I've got I like French fries. That's my weakness. So,
Oh yeah, the McDonald's over here recently, last year I think it was, introduced sweet potato fries. That was pretty good.
oh, they have sweet, but I didn't know McDonald's, so they don't have those here. They're just at restaurants, but oh, cool.
Yeah, we have McDonald's and Burger King,
Hmm.
and we recently just got Domino's too.
Oh, nice. Are you in a
Yeah,
big city or a smaller place or?
I'm in one of the bigger cities.
Okay, cool.
Hmm. Not naming the city, of course.
No, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, it's one of the bigger cities.
Cool.
It has a small downtown centrum, so we're mostly scattered around.
Right. Yeah.
But
Nice.
the citizen consensus of the city is quite large.
One day I'll get to Norway. I have ancestors from that area, so hopefully one day I'll get to visit.
Well, if you're ever in the south, hit me up.
I will, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you guys now, I watched a documentary where you have a train that goes all the way up to the very north or something now.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I don't really remember exactly which is the most northern point, but I know Kodakano is pretty far up.
Yeah.
We Norway. There's actually one thing people don't really know that much about Norway. We even have a border to Russia.
Oh,
Most people think we only border to Sweden, but
right.
no, we also have a border to Russia
Oh,
at
I didn't
the
know that.
very north.
Oh, okay, right at the tip, kind of.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a small fun fact.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Cool. Yeah, one day I'd like to travel there. One day.
Yeah. I am traveling, as you mentioned, to the south of Ontario
Hmm.
area. Once I do get there, what would you definitely advise me to go see around, besides the Niagara Falls, of course?
Hmm. Well, I didn't. I lived in Ontario for about a year and a half. So I haven't spent lots of time in the south, but there are a few pretty neat things. One I never got to go to. It's called Medieval Times. It's a big supper jousting kind of event. It's like a live medieval. Everyone's dressed up and in costume, and you eat a big medieval meal, and there's jousting and events. So that's supposed to be pretty fun. I think it's about $100 a ticket Canadian, but it's supposed to be pretty neat. Um,
What
there
do you
is
call that?
yes. It's called Medieval Times.
Oh yeah, I have heard about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, that one that interests me, but I'm a bit of a nerd, so maybe that doesn't interest everyone.
Oh,
But
I can be a bit of a nerd and a geek.
I was gonna say I'm talking to a bunch of gamers, aren't I? So
Yeah, most
I'm
of
just
us are.
joking. Gaming is good. I'm not against gaming.
Mm,
Let's see what else is around there. They have a really big casino, but I don't know if you like casinos. Um,
not particularly. Yeah, I'm
oh,
not made of indefinite funds.
yeah, nor I. Can't afford to lose them that quickly. There is I think if you go into Toronto, there's some really neat areas. Like they have a big Chinatown, and they have a Little Italy is a very neat area of Toronto, and there's also Kensington Market. That's what it's called. Kensington Market is kind of a neat. It's kind of a hipster area now, I guess, but they have markets outside and sell all kinds of neat things and crafts and stuff. And then you said, yeah, Niagara Falls. There's a castle in Hamilton, which is kind of on the way from Toronto to Niagara Falls. And it's a really big castle on the hill. I haven't been there, but I've seen pictures. So that's pretty cool. And what else? Well, let's see. It's too cold. They have Canada's Wonderland is a big amusement park, but I don't think it's open right now.
Mm.
So, and then yeah, Northern Ontario has lots, but you're probably not going to get too far
No, no.
north.
I've looked at the map, and Ontario is pretty stretched out. I will be keeping
Yeah,
to the south of it.
yeah. And then there's of course, I think it's called the CN Tower, that big tall tower in Toronto. You can pay to go all the way to the top and go. I think there's a restaurant at the top. It's really high, so that's also worth looking at. Yeah, Toronto has so much stuff. If you end up in the city, I don't know whereabouts you're going, but and then there all the other cities around it. A lot of people are commuting and driving back and forth, so I haven't spent much time there because it's so busy, and I'm
Mm.
such a small town person.
Looking at the chat again, let's see here. Axterus apparently shared the stream. Thank you, Axterus.
Thank you.
And let's see. Jolie says he's a born and raised Hoosier, corn, coal, and a specific type of drug capital of the world. Probably, he says. Flying Falcon says you guys have really good drivers. Not quite sure if he's referring to Norway, Russia, or Canada, though.
Oh, yeah, we'll find out because drivers, you like vehicle drivers?
And I think Jolie is talking to you when he says, tell her to go to Beardy's Island. What's Beardy's Island?
Beardy's Island. God, that sounds familiar.
What is Beardy's Island?
We have a Beardy's in Saskatchewan, but it's not an island. It's I think it's a First Nations reserve. Beardy's
Oh,
Island.
it's in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, we have a well, it's not an island. We have Aboriginal they call them reservations. It's where a lot of our First Nations people live. But so we have a Beardy's First Nation, but I'm assuming that's not what he's talking about because it's not very well
Mhm.
known.
Yeah,
Beardy's
I wasn't sure what
Island.
that was either.
I
Unfortunately,
think
Saskatchewan is not on my trip.
yeah, no, it's yeah, it'd be a little bit far for you. I'm about 2,500 kilometers away from Toronto, I believe. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
of a drive. It takes about 30 hours to drive straight.
Oh, oof.
Yeah, it's a long
That
one.
that deserves an oof.
Oof. Yeah,
Chat, please give me an oof.
yeah,
um,
it's a long drive. I've made that drive 3 times, I think, before, and it's a long, long drive because you have to go through. They have those 4 big lakes. They call them the Great Lakes. So Lake Superior is just goes. You'd swear it was an ocean. It's so big. It just goes on forever and ever and ever. But
mm.
it's very pretty.
I also
You'll-
see we have a Doc Griffin in chat. Hi, Doc. He
Hello,
comes with a
Doc.
joke. I thought Canada was closed for the season. And then
I,
Flying Falcon follows up with open to the insane.
that's funny. It's true. We're all you got to be a little crazy to live in Canada because it's so cold. At least where I live, it's cold. Vancouver's pretty mild. Toronto's actually way warmer than here. They're further south. When you look at a map, they're actually really far south. But
Oh yeah, they're like smack dab in the middle between Michigan and New York.
yeah. So it's very different climate. But someone on my YouTube channel, I do walk and talks. I call them where I go for a walk with my dogs and I video tape myself on a subject while I'm walking, and it was minus 16 degrees Celsius that day, and that was really warm for this time of year. And one of my UK subscribers said, "Do Canadians have antifreeze in their blood?" I guess we should. I guess we're tougher than I thought we were. So
Well, I would assume so,
yeah, are
considering
we
how
tough or are we
many.
insane? I don't know which.
I would assume so, considering so many Norwegians have flitted over there throughout the ages.
Yes, this they have indeed.
Yeah, we're quite comfortable in Canada. It's also the fact that Canada has this. I don't remember which type of tree it was, but you also have that one tree that we have up here that the States doesn't,
Oh, I'm trying to
and
think.
that kind of helps us feel more at home. Actually,
I you
it's
know
one of the many things.
I'm trying to think of, is it like the spruce or is it a maple tree that they I think it's maple trees maybe because we have
Mm,
lots of maples. Maybe not though. I don't know. Hmm. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, maple tree is our actually the maple leaf is our like our flag because when you go to Ontario, you don't have a lot of maple trees here, but that's something really nice. If you ever go to Ontario in the fall, September, October, even August, they have so many maple trees and they turn this beautiful orange, reds, and yellows. It's just stunning. But we don't have those trees here, not like that.
yeah, I do know a little bit about Canada. Canada is ranked as the second best country in the world behind Germany from a field of 60 countries for overall sustainability, cultural
Hmm.
influence, entrepreneurship, economic influence, and the most importantly, quality of life. And
Mm,
that your unemployment rates are lower than other countries.
yeah, we are doing pretty good in that respect. I think Trudeau's done a little bit of damage, but generally we have really good resources and we've been pretty good with trade. So we have a lot of oil and gas that keeps our economy going and that keeps our unemployment low. We have a lot of forestry, of course, here, and yeah, there's a lot of things. It's a very diverse country with some very very hardworking folks. So yeah, it's a good place to live. I feel pretty blessed to have been born here.
What about the healthcare system? Don't you have universal healthcare?
We do have universal health care, and it's a bit of a debate here right now because we will always have the creator that made universal health care. His name was Tommy Douglas. He was actually born in Saskatchewan, and so he's kind of famous here. And it's a really good thing that we have universal health care, but unfortunately, it does mean that we have some of the longest wait times for surgery and appointments for specialists in the industrialized world. So there are
Oof.
some problems with universal health care. So some of the governments or parties want to bring in what we would call two-tier systems. So it just means that you still have all of the coverage, but if somebody wants to pay for their own option to get in quicker, if they have more money, then they can, and then it frees up a space for someone else. So that's something that we have a little bit of in Canada, and I think we need to have more of that. I can't afford it, but I've been on wait lists for years and fighting to get in. I would like to see shorter wait times. So that's something that it's kind of an ongoing debate right now, but it
Hmm.
is good overall. People
So
always
you do have a good healthcare system, but if it's anything major, the wait list is enormous.
Yes, and it depends. Each province is also kind of has some of its own policies, and some
That
places
that that
worse
sounds
than
like
others.
some huge ups and downs.
Yes, exactly, and it's hit and miss. So if you have certain illnesses, if you have a heart attack or something, you're going to be okay. They're going to get you in there. But some of these, like my illness, because it wasn't fatal, the wait times were just they're so long, and you're off work, and you end up getting worse because you're waiting so long. So it can actually cause more money for taxpayers because you're not getting better as quickly. So it depends what province you're in. Saskatchewan has a harder time keeping doctors because it's cold here. We don't have big cities, whereas Vancouver or Ontario in parts have better wait lists. So it depends where you are born and what province you're in. Because sometimes it's better than others. So you hear some people say, "Oh, our healthcare is perfect. I've never had a problem." And then the next person went to the States to pay $50,000 to go to the Mayo clinic because they couldn't wait, 10 months to see a surgeon. So you hear all kinds of different stories, but I know many, many people that have paid a lot of money to go down to America to pay for something and take a loan out or take a second mortgage. So,
Hmm. Interesting.
mhm.
So there is some truth to the U.S. healthcare system being better, but at the same time not.
Yeah, it's funny because that debate is people always compare the US and Canada and they assume it's one or the other, one is better, but both have good and both have bad. The States has crony capitalism, so they have big pharmaceutical companies that kind of can take over and do what they want. So that's a big problem that Canada doesn't have as badly,
No,
but
not
on
to
the
mention healthcare system like welfare and so on.
yeah, so that's just it. Like the States has some really good ideas, but Canada has some. I think truthfully that the answer. I think both of us aren't the best in the world. I can't remember. There's a couple countries in Europe that are way better than we are. So I think
Like
we both have a
Germany.
lot to learn. Yeah, I think Norway is one of them actually.
Yeah, Norway is high up there, but
Do you have
Germany as a
universal?
whole, yes, but Germany as a whole is considered a better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
As a whole,
interesting.
that is. But yeah,
Yeah.
Norway is definitely one of the richest countries over here.
Mhm.
I say over here because obviously, it's considering how big the states are, they will be
Yeah.
richer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're so big. But yeah,
Mm.
I have people in the States that I know. Again, I've heard good
But
and bad.
again, if you compare how rich the country is, considering how many citizens and
Mm.
how big of an area, then in
Mhm.
average, Norway could probably top them.
Right, right. That makes
Mm.
sense. Yeah.
Looking at the chat again, let's
Mhm.
see. Catmandingo the Third says Canada's weather got drunk and staggered down to Texas for a few days. Okay, and sucks to be in Texas.
I'd like to go to Texas. Actually, my landlord lives in Texas now. He worked there and I think he's going to move there, but it's much warmer down in Texas, so I'd like to
Oh
go
yeah, I've
someday.
heard about the heat in Texas.
Oh, it's that desert kind of heat, but I didn't
Yeah.
realize Texas is beautiful. They have all kinds of landscape that I didn't know about until this past year, so one day I'll get there.
Flying Falcon says that his driver comment was about Norway. Well, thank you.
Oh,
Even
cool.
though you can always notice who the Norwegian is if you're on the road in Denmark.
How's
We
that?
drive like pigs once we hit the highway.
Are you aggressive? Fast?
We go fast, yeah. We go fast. We might be good on our own roads, but that's because our speed limit is lower than in Denmark.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Do people
Well,
drive a lot of
once we get to Denmark or Germany, we drive like pigs. So thank
Good
you
to
for the
know.
compliment, but it's a bit off.
Do you drive a lot of standards or manual transmissions there?
Oh, I myself don't have a car, and I've never really been car crazy, so I wouldn't be
Mhm.
able to answer that question.
No, no problem. I was just
Mm.
wondering, I know in the UK, it seems everybody drives a manual transmission or a standard, but in Canada nowadays, almost nobody does. Lots of people don't know how.
Oh,
So,
if you're talking about manual stick
yeah,
versus
yeah,
auto,
stick.
then we,
Yeah.
we mostly still use stick.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I like
stick
stick
is more
myself.
comfy, stick is more safe.
Yes, I
No,
prefer
not
it
to
too, but
mention you can drift.
yes, that's true. That's true.
Oh yeah, the speed freaks over here love to drift. And let's see, Jolly says Beardy as in the Beard Barian. Can't remember the name of the island. Still
Oh.
not sure what you're on about. Um, Flying Falcon says in the world only the Drake Passage has some rougher water than the Great Lakes. Do you know what he's talking about?
I heard just about the Great Lakes. What was the question?
He was saying in the world only the Drake Passage has some rougher
Oh,
water than the Great Lakes.
rougher water. Oh, as in just to like be on a boat kind of thing, like waves.
I believe that might be what he meant.
It's possible. I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me because there'd be a lot of wind over the Great Lakes and they're very kind of very wide open, so that wouldn't surprise me. I haven't spent a lot of time only around Superior, Lake Superior, but I haven't spent any time really boating in them or swimming or anything in them. So, but they have a lot of water. It's I can't remember the statistic about how much water they hold, but it's a lot. So
Hmm. Let's see. Catmandingo says y'all make amazing whiskey.
we make amazing whiskey in Canada.
That's what he
Possibly
says.
because that would make sense because we have our Crown Royal is Canadian. That's one of our like specialty whiskeys. I think they sell that around the world. We do, of course, if it comes from rye, we have a lot of people that farm different
Yeah,
types of
I
crops
also know
here.
that you have a special Canadian vodka, which comes in a see-through glass skull.
Oh yeah, we do. I can't remember the name of it, but I know my
Oh,
fiance has
I
one of
have
them.
one on my desk right here. Let's see if I can find the name of it. If it even
Cool.
says. It says product of Canada, bottled in Newfoundland. Uh, says the company.
Is that
Just
Crystal
yeah,
Head or something?
yeah,
Crystal something.
yeah, Crystal Head. That's what it's
Crystal
called.
Head. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite weak, only at 40%, but still,
I
it's
haven't
kind of
tried.
cool.
I don't drink much because of just my illness, but I know people actually. Steve, I think, has one of these bottles that he saved from years ago. It's expensive, isn't it? I think it's an expensive one.
I can show it.
Oh yeah. Cool.
There
Cool.
is the skull, and
That's
I'm
pretty
just
neat.
staying straight out of view here.
I bet you people just buy it for the bottle.
Yes, that is very true. I did buy it for the bottle. I did want a bigger bottle though.
Fair enough.
This one's just fitting in the palm of my hand.
Cool.
But yeah, he says something about the whiskey. I say something about the vodka. It's still weak, but it's good.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Gotcha. Yeah, we do a lot
Uh,
of wine. Actually, where you're going, if you like
oh
wine,
yeah, I know there's a
lots of
vineyard.
wineries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
lots
know
of
that there's a
wineries.
vineyard in the Niagara Falls area.
Yeah, yeah, there's a couple. It's just warm enough there that they can do vines or vineyards, so that's neat.
Mm.
The West Coast has
Um,
them too, but we don't.
Jolie also says Rip Edmund Fitzgerald.
What about Edmund Fitzgerald?
He says rest in peace, Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh, Edmund Fitzgerald. Why
Was he one
that
of the
name
ones
sounds
leaving
familiar.
Trudeau's cabinet?
No, it's something to do with he's something to do with Ontario. I'm gonna Google that quick. Let's see here. Something in Ontario. I know that name. Okay, yeah. American Great Lakes freighter that sank. Okay, 1975. That was about 11 years before I was born.
Ah, so it's
Okay.
old news.
Yeah. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah, American Great Lakes freighter. I knew that
Yeah.
sounded
I
familiar.
think Flying Falcon is still talking about the whiskey here. He says many who can afford it come here, even though it's pricey. No, I
Yeah.
think he might be talking about the healthcare again.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's a few clinics in the States that Canadians go to, especially for things like cancer, when they know that, you know what, I have to pay or I die kind of thing. So people will go down to the Mayo Clinic, which I think is in New York, or I can't remember where the Mayo Clinic is. And then
Yeah.
there's also the Cleveland Clinic, which is not too far from Ontario.
Flying
And they're
Falcon
both.
also says it's mostly because of malpractice lawyers and small
Mhm.
monopolies.
Yeah, you guys have a lot more of that in the States, or not you, but as your viewers.
Yeah.
There's more malpractice and lawsuits and stuff, and because it's more capitalism based, yeah, you see more of that than here, which is one of my surgeons actually came from Florida originally, and he had a big malpractice suit down there, and I remember thinking, oh no, maybe he's a bad doctor, but then when you do your research, it seems like everybody's had a
By
million
the way,
lawsuits.
your mic seems to be varying in sound quality.
Oh, here, I'll turn it up a bit. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
And Doc also says Germany is a whole. Okay. And Catmandingo follows up with like Dallas. And Flying Falcon says, and Texas makes shitty crop dusters.
Oh, do they? Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And then they are on about the cars we talked about. Catmandingo
Yeah.
says, oh, sweetie, you haven't experienced the special edition ZR1 Corvette. No, I have not.
ZR1.
Doc
What
Griffin
is that?
says, Beardbarian lives on an island in BC.
Okay, yeah. I lived on Vancouver Island, and there's a ton of little islands in between Vancouver Island and the coast, and they're so teeny. One of them is like off grid. There's no everyone grows their own food. There's no vehicles. There's all kinds of neat little islands out there. It's very
Mm.
pretty. And
Flying
I just
Falcon.
looked up that Corvette. That is pretty darn nice.
Flying Falcon says no disagreement. 1987 Suzuki Samurai is the best car.
1967?
1987.
87.
He also says Drake Passage is right below Cape Horn between South America and the Antarctica. Well, yes, in that case, I would believe they have really rough water because the area
Yeah.
below Cape Horn is really rough.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then they're talking about some Crown, Alpha, Royal, Black Velvet stuff. Jolly goes, Crystal Skull Vodka? The Dan Aykroyd Insanity Special?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Catman Dingo goes, Absolute is the best vodka. Svedska is trash. Yes, Swedish people are trash. Yes, thank you for affirming that belief.
Oh, is there a rivalry between you and
Oh,
Swedish people?
yes.
Uh-oh, do tell me about that.
The Swedes are dumb.
Uh-oh.
They are insanely dumb. Like, if you meet a Swede that is both smart and nice, we refer to them as Scandinavian, not Swedish. That's how bad it is to be a Swede.
Oh no.
Yes. They are our retarded neighbor.
Oh no. I knew I had a landlord on Vancouver Island that was from Sweden. But he was pretty smart, but he was also, speaking of alcohol, he liked his booze. So
That's fine.
maybe
No,
he
that's
was I think he was one of those people that actually was more, you didn't ever meet him when he wasn't drinking, so he was actually smarter when he was drinking, I think. His blood was used to
Well,
it.
in that case, I would say he borders on being a Scandinavian.
Oh, fair enough.
Because the Swedes, they come over here, they are either bartenders or waiters, and
Yeah.
frankly, that position suits them well. They can serve us.
That's funny. That's kind of how we talk about that in Canada too, because there's kind of a rivalry between the West and the East. So yeah, that's kind of how we talk about different provinces. You were asking about Quebec. I'm pretty nice, but if you asked like someone else, maybe in Saskatchewan, they might not have been so kind.
Yeah. And let's see, what else do they say? Jolie says, the Edmund Fitzgerald, Gordon Lightfoot's tribute is great. I'm partial to Kettle One myself.
That's where I've heard that name is Gordon Lightfoot. Okay, that makes sense. The singer, yeah.
And Flying Falcon says there's a song about SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Ketman Dingo III says, what guy reminds me of high school? And Jolie says, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot. Damn solid song.
That's where I was thinking, why have I heard of that before? And that's exactly why.
And there is a resounding yes in the chat.
Nice. Oh, phew, she gets it. Oh, good.
And Catman Dingo III has a typo there. I believe he's talking about race cars, but he's wrote racers. Subaru, WRX, or Nissan Skyline.
Nissan
and again, he
Skylines
says
are
only riser. It should be racer.
Do you
I want it's a Datsu in 510, Jolly says.
Oh, cool.
Dingo goes, hey, my mom is Swedish. Well, does she have a brain? Does she have a heart? If so, she's Scandinavian, honey. Yeah, if she got a brain and a heart, she's Scandinavian, not Swedish.
Not Swedish?
Yeah, that's how low it is to be called Swede.
Well, I don't have any Swedish in my blood, so I'm not insulted. I'm just Norwegian, so I'm safe.
Flying Falcon goes, the Swedes are dumb. Let in lots of Middle Eastern Muslims. Nothing could go wrong. Well, there's a funny thing about the Swedes. They seem to have located a few brain cells because recently there was this welcome poster in this one Swedish city, which featured a girl in hijab. And even though the people that are on these welcoming posters are one of the 100 people nominated by that own city, it still got shot up. So at first they're stupid enough to nominate one in a hijab, and then they locate a few brain cells that goes like, hey, wait, this wasn't a good idea and should stamp poster up. Quite funny. The Swedes are in some level entertaining.
Well, because they've had they took a lot more migrants in than Norway,
Oh yeah.
right? Yeah,
And they
yeah,
are now realizing their mistake,
yeah,
and I'm just like,
yeah. They're having trouble
apprentice,
there.
I found your brain.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because you asked about Justin Trudeau. That's one of the big criticisms of him is that he wants to bring up our immigration numbers a lot, and then we end up having a very very high Muslim population. So people are concerned. So, but yeah,
Well,
because
yeah,
Sweden,
yeah.
we see what
That's
happened
why
in
you should
Sweden
have
and
a
the UK.
quota,
Hmm.
and that you should see on what can they contribute with.
Yeah, we need to have more people allowed to what's happening in Canada. If you speak out against this, or if you say that you're concerned about Islamism, or if you're concerned about immigration, you just get called a racist. We have a law here. It's called it's a motion, but it will eventually be a law. It's called M103, and it's the Islamophobia law. So we are now they're doing studies and putting money into surveillance so that they can nail people online who are or in person who are criticizing Islam. So yeah, it's very weird what's happening with immigration here. And if you question it, our own politicians, Trudeau and his advisor, have called our citizens neo-Nazis because they questioned immigration. That's how bad
Well,
it
I
is.
say when it comes to the Muslim dilemma, if they're gay, I don't see any issue. If
Mm.
they're, let's say, highly educated and have worked in other countries than the
Hmm.
Middle East, then sure,
Hmm.
they must already be used to cultural norms.
Precisely. Yeah. Assimilation is so important because we're
Yeah.
seeing, well, like in the UK, that's why I was there because they're having grooming gangs and they're having these problems. And same with Sweden, they're having rapes, right? Lots of women are
Oh
being raped.
yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. So you have to
There
make
should it
sure.
should be a better vetting process.
Absolutely. And so that's all anyone says here. So I'm a conservative here in Canada. So when you talk about that, like I have a friend now on YouTube.
Like I feel very strong when it comes to immigration. The vetting process
Yeah.
needs to be good.
Oh, so it has to be very solid because
Oh
you
yeah.
need to protect your citizens. That's the whole point. So, yeah, it's a really big debate in Canada right now. So, I'm with you on that one. It's really important. And that doesn't make you a racist. That makes you smart, right?
Yes. It
Yeah.
makes it known that you actually have a brain.
Yes, you're just thinking ahead. And I don't know, I've been good friends with a woman named Iman, and she's from Saudi Arabia, and she's a Muslim, ex-Muslim apostate. And she speaks about the concern of what's happening in Canada and the UK and Sweden. And
Yeah.
people don't even listen to her. Even she gets called a white supremacist. She's not even white. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, like for example, one of the hairdressers I've gone to is a Muslim, but he's a
Hmm.
gay Muslim.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So he's more
So
moderate.
yeah, like if he were to live in his origin country,
Hmm.
he would probably be dead by
He would
now.
be killed, likely. Yeah, killed or
Yeah.
or
So
persecuted very
he's
heavily.
kind of forced to assimilate himself.
Yeah.
And knowing that he is a gay Muslim, like he has not left his belief in Allah,
Right.
but he has assimilated himself into our culture.
Into Western
And
culture.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that is good.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. To me, it's not about religion or color or anything. It's about values. Are you all kind of on the same page? That's important.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was curious about Norway. So Norway didn't take. Did you take any of the refugees this past few years, or just a few, or what did Norway do?
I do believe we took in a few.
Hmm. Smaller number.
Yeah. Oh, I remember a story about the UK.
Hmm.
Wasn't there this one girl that worked at one of the refugee centers that got raped and killed?
I think that was. It's hard to keep up. There's been so many stories, but
Her
I
father
believe
was
I
an
heard about that
important
one.
figure in within immigration.
I think you're right. Yeah, might have been just before I kind of got into politics more, but they've had a lot of stuff going on. They've had problems in the camps. They've had problems with terrorist attacks.
Hmm.
Lots of people have died from terrorist attacks in France and England. It's just awful. And knife. Now they're having knife attacks and acid attacks, and like it's just crazy.
Yeah. Looking at the chat again, let's see. Katmandingo the third goes half Norman Irish. I do believe he might be referring to somebody else in the chat here.
I got
Uh,
some Irish in my blood too. I always say I'm a bit of a mutt. I have Irish, German, Scottish, English, and Norwegian.
oh, well, you're a cute mutt.
That's right. Adorable, adorable European mutt.
Jolly goes, Riser is the term for Asian cards. Ah, thank you for correcting me on that, Jolly.
Ah, cool.
Now I've learned a new term. Hey,
Yeah,
we're learning again!
I know. Look at us go. Someone said something about the skyline. A friend of mine had
I'm pretty sure I'll be
a
getting to
skyline.
that.
Cool.
Let's see. Flying Falcon. Sweden has a big brain damage and autism problem. I can make that joke. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Flying Falcon. That is a very valid joke. I'm not really sure if it's a joke, though.
Well, now I have to come visit Sweden and see about it all. See how it
Oh,
goes.
they're dumb. Katmandingo says, well, I'm dead in the water. Who wants some Canadian whiskey?
Canadian whiskey and some maple syrup and what
Yeah.
else can we give you? I don't know what else.
Katmandingo says, Norway sent them to Russia to get their asses beat from molesting women. Yeah, that is actually mostly correct. There was actually a big news story about Muslims illegally traveling to Norway, and we just put them on a bus straight over to Russia. Because Russia let them through, Finland let them through, Sweden let them through, and we're just like, fuck, no. Beep this, and sent them all the way over to Russia and like, you deal with this. Close your gates, damn it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's actually a thing that happened.
Sheesh.
Yeah, Katmandingo is not far off the truth with that. Although they didn't get the chance to molest women.
They were there long enough, eh?
No,
Goodness.
yeah, they weren't there long enough. We sent them straight back.
So
even paid for the bus to ensure that they stayed on the bus until they reached Russia.
Is it like young women or just all ages of women that are getting assaulted right now in Sweden?
I think it's mostly younger, like from anything from teenage years until 40-ish.
That's awful. That'd be scary to like.
It's the attractive age, to say it that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not calling teens attractive. I'm just saying that filthy individuals will always stay filthy individuals.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have to reiterate that so I don't come out with a wrong statement, you know?
You have to be so careful. Yeah, I'm not saying this. I'm just saying something.
Oh, Flying Falcon, good joke. In Russia, women molest you. I cannot pull off the Russian accent.
I can't either. I'm not going to even try.
Yeah.
Well, Russia, that's where you go to get the good vodka, isn't it?
Yeah. Although, do you still have time to stay on for a bit longer? You did say only 1 hour.
I've got probably about 5 more minutes, or 5 to 10 minutes.
Ah.
I can go a little over.
Well, you could spend some time talking about your own channel. I know that you have 2K subs.
Yeah, that went up really fast. I got a lot more this last week since I came back from the UK. So I sang at the Tommy Robinson anti-BBC rally. Yeah, it went up really fast. It went up about 300-400. So yeah, I got a bunch of UK Britain subs now. Yeah. So yeah, it's growing really fast. It's kind of makes me nervous actually, but I'm happy. So.
Congratulations on the rise.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's been it's been a really, I didn't expect my channel. I just started it to rant about, random social and political issues. And then all of a sudden it started to grow and I do music and that's been really popular. So I think it's my music that's helped it to move along. So yeah, I try to, my channel in a nutshell, I try to bring up divisive, kind of like controversial issues, but I want to bring them up in a way where people can balance their head and their heart and come up with, because I used to be really, really liberal. And then I realized that I wasn't using my head. I was only feeling. I was just using my feelings. So I try to balance that all. And I do interviews and sometimes I rant a little bit. I do swear sometimes, I admit.
Well, you're certainly a very interesting individual.
Well,
And
thank
even
you.
though you're up there with the 2K, 2.5K, which is definitely a bigger tuber than I, so I must thank you for coming on to my show.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm happy to
But you're
be
still
here.
a smaller tuber in regards to the big tubers. So I
Absolutely.
definitely commend the chat to go and check out your channel, which
Well,
is
thank
in the
you.
description.
Much appreciated.
Yes, I made sure to put you there.
Thank you. And I'll pass you along as well on Twitter and elsewhere. I'll maybe bring you up in one of my commentaries sometime soon.
Oh, I would appreciate that.
Mhm.
And seeing as you only got a few minutes left, I would say that I would love to have you back on again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know where to find me, so
Oh, we already got a comment down there in the live chat, already subbed.
oh well, thank you. Much appreciated.
And Cat Mandingo says, rant, yell, and cuss all you want.
Excellent. I have permission. Good stuff.
Yeah, those people that have been in the chat are mostly all adults.
Okay, fair enough.
The reason I keep my channel a little bit more PG is because of the fans I have on my Discord server.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although, would you like to chill your stuff in the live chat as well?
Pardon me?
Is there anything you'd like to chill in the live chat?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I haven't been watching. I've just been letting you read it, so I've just been kind of hanging out. So if there's anyone that has any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I'm just asking since I already have your link in the description if there's anything else you'd like to share.
Oh, like link wise and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Probably just like any of my most recent videos are pretty telling of what I kind of do. They're all really heavy political stuff, so as long as you're interested in that kind of stuff, I don't know. There's lots of cool Canadian YouTubers though. I recommend you check them out. Any of my videos have I have a list of Canadian YouTubers, and there's a guy named Rance Derrick. That's who I'd recommend. He's very very funny. He does commentary, but he makes really dirty jokes. He always pushes the line. So if you like that kind of humor, I recommend him. So
Now, before I introduce the next guest, if you'll just stick around and
yep,
rant a little bit extra.
sure.
Before I introduce the next guest, I will be pushing some links into the live chat.
Hmm.
Feel free to talk.
Sure. Well, I was going to say earlier about cars, since it sounds like a bunch of you guys are into cars. A friend of mine had a Skyline, and he ordered it from, I don't even know where, somewhere in, I want to say it came from Japan, but anyways, it was a right-hand drive, and I don't know, do you have left-hand drive or right-hand drive in
Right
Norway?
hand.
You have right-hand? Okay, yeah, so
Yeah,
we have,
we drive on the right side of the road.
okay, yeah,
We're
see,
not
we have,
England.
yeah, we're the same as you. So we have anyways, yeah, so his was opposite, and I know in Canada you can register them and insure them, but they charge you so much more money because everything is different. And it was a pretty neat little car though. I drive a Volkswagen myself. I like Volkswagens. Volkswagen, Das Auto, and I like to drive stick. So I'm always happy to talk to other people that appreciate driving stick. No one does it here. It's terribly sad. Lots of kids don't know how. It's good. No one will steal my car because no one knows how to drive it.
Yeah.
And this guy's coming from New York. Is that what you said?
Yes, this next guest is in New York and quite infamous as of late, but I will not be touching on that.
Fair enough. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, I'll be sticking to the topic.
Good stuff. Well, I haven't spent much time in New York, but I did go there to fly from England. So it went England to New York, and then we were laid over for 8 hours. So I slept in the New York airport like a homeless person on the floor. So that was fun. Sleeping on my bag and are you going down to New York when you're there?
I will be flying into New York.
Oh, cool. JFK Airport?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I was.
I will be flying into New York and from there traveling upwards to South Ontario and Where I'll be going after that will be in the future streams.
Neat.
Jolly says, "Wait, what kind of Volkswagen?"
I used to have a Golf.
I think you won these guys over with car speech.
I don't know that much about cars, but I like them. I have a GTI, a 2004 GTI. We named him Johann because he's German. and the joke is that he makes me drive like a teenage boy. I'm aggressive and fast. I drive like a jerk in my Volkswagen, but I drive well, but I drive very fast because it's so fun and it's got turbo in it and it's very quick and yeah, it's hard not to.
Now, before this next guest hops in, I will be saying the disclaimer that is also in the description, and I will be referring to the description if anyone has a problem. The small disclaimer goes, if you're upset about my last guest for the day, then take that up with him. This is not his channel, it is my channel. This is about my upcoming trip and about holding my word. If you're curious about what I mean by holding my word, you can always ask me about that in DMs.
Awesome.
Yes.
Good little liability waiver.
Oh, yes, that is a liability waiver. We'll be sticking to talking about New York, and that is it. So, he won't be looking at the chat. So, if you are here to troll him, tough luck. I will be the only one looking at the chat.
It doesn't matter anyway. They don't get under my skin. Ladies, how are you both doing this evening?
Pretty well.
I'm good. How about yourself?
Alive, darling. That's all you can ask for. You and I have actually streamed once before, I think on Herb's channel. I remember you had that funky flower thing in the background. It's what is that?
That's me.
Buddhist.
It's a mandala.
It's a mandala.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that was me. I recognize you as well. Yeah, from one of Irving's streams. I wasn't on for very long, but I think maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's where I first saw you. Kelly.
Yeah, that's right too. Cool. So you've got that New York accent, you know.
Well, he is a New Yorker. Kind of why he's not there at all.
Yeah, born and raised, lived here my entire life. You know, that's why she asked me to be on here. Cool. It's funny, actually. I was listening to his talk before. And
technically, it's about holding the word I gave last year. But yes, the main topic of this is New York.
Yeah, well, I heard what you were talking about. Two things. I grew up my entire life on the Atlantic Ocean. So my father, even though he drove a cement mixer to put food on the table, he was a fisherman, was his entire life. So from when I was a kid, I remember to scuttle meant you're going to basically get rid of the ship. So you take everything that you can off of the thing and you send it to the bottom. That's what it means to scuttle. And scuttlebutt is another term for gossip. Yeah, see, Allie, I was actually listening to your stream, so I keep my promises too. I don't even watch my own streams. I don't watch streams. It's just I'm not that interested normally. It's from having 5 older sisters watching them on the phone all day. It was the same thing. It's like, well, what am I gonna watch it for? But
fair enough.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The other thing is, with our healthcare, the problem our healthcare is having right now, it's not so much the crony capitalism. That's actually what curtails the pharmacological companies and keeps the prices in check. Okay. Because if you start offering pills for $50, what's to stop me from being like, yo, I'll give you one for $5? Right. You know, so that's actually, the capitalism undercuts that. What the problem is with the healthcare is because they tried to privatize it. What the thing was, we had companies competing right and left when I was a kid. That's when we had the best healthcare on the planet. So it's when the government starts meddling is when things get screwed up.
Well, the government doesn't do a very good job of it. And that's why people that want to do socialism, it's like, well, why do you trust the government? They're awful. They're awful at everything they touch.
Oh, yeah. Believe me, I know. I worked for the government. That's actually how I got injured. I got I have a little bit of less use in my right leg. I tell people I'm partially crippled in my right leg, and I hyperbole here on the internet. That immediately means I'm in like a walker or a wheelchair, or they're going to cut my leg off at the knee. I've heard. I just have a little bit less feeling in this leg. So when I drive stick, because I heard you guys talking about manual
Mhm.
too, when I drive stick, sometimes it gives me a little bit of trouble, and
Mm.
I can't dance like I used to.
Ah,
But
darn.
yeah, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, I've been going through. I work for New York State. That's how I got injured. So I've
Okay.
been a New York State
And
employee
speaking of
since the
that,
'90s.
what can you tell us about New York as a whole?
All right. New York as a whole, for starters, New York is actually, like a lot of people don't realize this, New York is a red state. My state is one of the most patriotic states in the Union. The thing of it is, the rest of the country, um, you got to look at it as like New York and California are like, I'm saying this as somebody who lives here. They're like the cesspools for this country. All of the shit, all of the garbage. I forgot you got PG-13 listeners. All of the garbage collects here. And what I mean by that is all of the radical left wing lunatics. They come to my state and they come to California and they congregate in like Los Angeles and San Francisco over there, and they congregate in Manhattan here. And so that's the reason my state turns up as blue, is because people from all over the country move here and vote blue. So my state comes across as blue. You go in upstate New York, it's like going down south. The gun culture up there, the hunting culture up there, um, and like where I live on Western Long Island outside of Queens. But when you go even just a little bit east from me, they have what they call LI rednecks, the Long Island redneck community, and
Hmm.
it actually it throws people a lot when they come out here. Um,
Flying Falcon says NYC airspace is hell. I bet the ground is worse.
it depends where you're talking about. Like the airspace over Manhattan, he is absolutely right, is ridiculous. Especially basically all of the airspace in lower New York and parts of Jersey and Connecticut, it is a nightmare. Specifically because of the problem of New York being an international port city, and we have so much commerce that comes in, not just by plane. We also have commerce that comes in by boat freight, and we're also a hub for anything that comes in by rail. So that's part of the reason that it's such a problem with flying also to come in here, is because there's so much other logistics that's getting squared. So they'll cross reference a lot of things. And me personally, I'm not gonna do it now because it's freezing. I could go outside and point the camera up, and you're gonna see what looks like a string of Christmas lights. Those are all of the planes waiting to land.
Oh
They
wow!
they're in a holding
Seems
pattern over my
seems like it's
house.
gonna be a sight when I get there.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
Well, you're going to be landing earlier, so you're not going to see all the planes in the holding pattern. And to be fair, you'd be up in the air in a holding pattern. It's not like you're going to see the other planes. If you see the other planes while you're up in the air, I think you're too close. So just call it a hunch.
Catman Dingo says upstate New York is country SF.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely right. I lived in Utica back in, I'm showing my age here, back in 98, 99 when I first started college. I lived in Utica, and it was Utica, Rome was the area I was in, and it was right outside of where they held Woodstock '99, which I wound up attending, by the way, that following summer, and I was amazed at how country it is up there. It's beautiful. A lot of people don't realize our gross national product here, excuse me, gross domestic product, is dairy. New York is actually a dairy state. We compete
Oh,
directly with Wisconsin. Yeah,
I didn't know it was a dairy state.
once you get outside of Manhattan, I mean literally, once you get outside of Manhattan, once you get past the Bronx, there's like Yonkers and Poughkeepsie. They're all upstate New York has some of the most beautiful cities you'll ever see, by the way. But
Hmm.
once you get past that initial area outside of the Bronx, it's all mountains, it's all waterfalls, it's all forests. You see deer, you'll see foxes. It looks like a postcard. The movie, the Bridges of Madison County, was filmed in upstate New York.
Hmm.
That's what it
I
looks
didn't know
like up
that.
there.
Flying
Oh yeah.
Falcon says, imagine flying on instruments is a slow single engine turboprop. He also
Yeah.
says, if you see another plane ever, take a picture. Sure. If I see if I see another plane from the plane, I'll take a picture.
And you're lucky you're landing in JFK. You don't have you have no idea how lucky you are you're landing in that
Is
airport.
LaGuardia really bad or what?
LaGuardia was the original airport that they built in New York. What it was, Mathiarello LaGuardia was flying back into New York from I forget where, and he looked at his ticket, and his ticket said Newark, New Jersey. He was flying into Newark Airport, and he said to the pilot, "I want to land in New York." He says, "Well, the airport's in Newark." He says, "I don't care. My ticket says New York. Put this plane down in New York." And he forced the guy to land in a field. And that field is where they built LaGuardia Airport. And LaGuardia, because of the problem is LaGuardia was like one of the cutting edge, most futuristic airports at the time when they weren't building airports. So you'd be pulling into basically a museum piece. Not knocking it for it's not that it's like outdated or run down. I want to say that people think that it's like a death trap. It's small. It's not made to accommodate air travel of the volume that we got nowadays. It's basically like a supermarket with a runway.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too big. But the reason I'm saying she's lucky that she's landed in JFK, JFK is more modern and it's hooked up to the hub network, so she could actually just get off of her plane and she can get onto any bus or any train because they directly connect right into the airport. She doesn't have to take a taxi to the port authority because there's actually there's connections there.
Nice.
Actually, when I was there, I noticed that there was like you get off the escalator and there was trains going right by. We had to sleep there for the full 8 hours. Middle of the night, we couldn't really go anywhere, but
yes,
I was hoping you could.
That is true. Kelly, you did sleep over at an airport in New York.
Yeah.
How was
Why
that
would you
experience?
sleep at the airport? I mean, it's New York. You could go anywhere, 24
We,
hours a day.
We had a layover that was just long enough to leave us stuck, but not quite long enough to really let us go out and do anything and come back and go through security. So we were there for about 7 hours and 20 minutes, I think it was. So we slept and we were so tired. We had come from Heathrow and we were jet lagged. So that was just last week that I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a shame too because
it is. I'd like to see New York City once or in my life.
Well, you see, it's too bad you didn't talk to me before you came out here because if I would have found out you had like a 7.5 hour layover, my God, I go back and forth. I go back and forth from my house. I leave my house. If I don't hit traffic, like if I just for whatever reason someone gives me a call, like, "Go Scooby, I need to get picked up, man. I'm stuck." I'll be like, "You bastard, you buying me something to eat?"
By the way, is West Point in New York?
Yes. West Point is.
Cat Mandingo says, "I spent a month in West Point training cadets with the 101st."
Cool.
Really?
Isn't that where Trump
That's
went?
what Cat Mandingo says.
My hat's off to him. That's awesome. Mad respect. No, seriously, mad respect. I come from a military family, hence all the flag stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. West Point. I think that's where Trump went. I think he might have went to LaSalle. I think he went to LaSalle, and then he might have went to West Point when he was older. A couple of people I knew went to LaSalle Military Academy. They pissed off their parents, so their parents made them go there.
Flying Falcon says, KLGA approach glide slopes are packed.
I'm not familiar with the plane. I'm not familiar with the plane jargon. I'm only familiar with nautical terms.
Here's a comment for you, Kelly. Flying Falcon also says, "Trust me, it's better than sleeping in a plane."
It's true. You can't sleep in the plane. I try. I mean, I can, but it's so hard to do. Every 2 seconds, they're coming on to say something over the intercom, or there's turbulence, or a baby crying.
Well,
I'm actually planning on sleeping on the plane, so
take lots of
travel.
Told you just gotta grab one of them travel pillows. Grab
they
the one
do
that you
sell
put
it
around
on the plane. They do sell it on the plane.
Yeah, you're gonna pay a fortune.
I was gonna say you'll pay 3 times as much in the airport.
Yeah, just go down to like Walmart and grab the thing.
Oh, we don't have a Walmart.
Whatever your version is, I'm sure it's got those wild Scandinavian
letters.
I'll
be checking in the airport if they sell it there, but it's most likely not.
All right, be
But
stubborn. Take
I
your
know
time
it's
so much.
stalled on the plane ride to Amsterdam before the layover, before I go to New York. So, fingers crossed. Flying Falcon says KLGA is LaGuardia's airport identifier.
Oh, okay. I don't leave here. I wouldn't know. I don't leave my home that often. I've been on a plane, I think, 4 times. I'm counting the going to and coming back as a time each.
Mm.
You know, so I've been on a plane 4 times in my life. Both times to go to Florida. So yeah, I'm not too familiar with air travel. I'm a fisherman's son. You want to talk boats? I
Kelly.
can talk that.
Yeah.
Kelly, was it a large plane or a smaller plane?
The one to the little ones going from where I live to say Winnipeg and
The one you tried to
Minneapolis were
sleep on.
small. Yeah. That one. Well, the little ones I couldn't sleep at all. They were so bumpy. But the big one from Heathrow to JFK was a little smoother. I did sleep for a couple hours on that flight because it was quite large. It was one that had a big first class, and then it had the three seats, 3 different rows
you
of
rode
3
first
seats.
class.
Oh God, no. I walked through first class and said, "Oh, I'm jealous," and then went to economy.
They show you what you're missing out on.
Exactly. It's cruel.
It is definitely cruel. Jolly, the reason I asked is because Jolly said if you're on a larger plane, it's easier to sleep. They're a bit quieter, which does make sense. It's the same concept with boats, really. Like if you're on a large ferry, it's way easier than sleeping on a small boat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
True.
The larger they are, the less you notice the turbulence. So.
I think I actually have to jump off here, Owly. I actually have to jump off here right away, Owly. I didn't realize it's 8:30.
Well, as I previously said, Kelly's link is in the description. If you haven't already subbed to her, please go and take a look at her content. And it was a pleasure to have you on, Kelly.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, do you have any last few words to the viewers?
No, you guys were fun. Thank you for the conversation. I appreciate it. It was I even learned some things, and I have new insults to throw at people, so that's exciting.
Yes, like Fuddlescuts.
Thank you, Miss Ellie. I appreciate you at any time. And
I have 3 comments to you from Falcon. Her name's not Callie, it's Kelly.
Yes.
But basically, Jimsy Anubis, also known as Rakis, says Canada is evil. They have attack moose up there. And they ride polar bears that are rainbow colored thanks to Trudeau. Trudeau is the evil queen of the north. He's just being a huge troll. It's funny. But yeah, it was a pleasure to have you here, and hopefully I will have you on again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry I have to run off. I actually made it half an hour longer than I was originally planning, so that worked out well.
I am really thankful for that. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Ditto. Yeah, all the best to you on your trip. I hope it goes fantastic. So.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be talking more as I do the trip.
Yes, please do. You know where to find me. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name, New Yorker.
Scooby.
Good to chat with you again. I'm sure I'll see you again. I really like the mask and hat, by the way. That's cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I assume you're a Trump fan, by the way?
Oh, yeah. My father actually poured the foundation for Trump Tower.
Wow. Cool. Yeah, I have to say, I like him more every time I hear him speak. Now, the more I hear Trudeau speak, the more I like Trump by default.
Yeah. And it's funny, if anyone ever tells you that my president is a racist, you tell him that you talk to me. My sister's husband's been doing his carpets for about 30 years now. And he's Jordanian, my sister's husband. He's an Arab.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got an Arab doing his floors, but the man's a racist.
Well, of course, but aren't we all just the most racist people in the universe, according to, people? But that's a whole other story in itself, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And we'll keep that one not PG-13. I can swear too much on that topic.
Yeah. I see in the chat here, besides Rakis's jokes, Flying Falcon says, I have not slept in an airliner, just a Cessna 140. Really small, 1-seat bench made for 2. Oof,
that's like a lawnmower with wings.
Yeah, that does not sound comfortable.
So, Kelly, it was nice streaming with you.
Yeah.
Yes, you as well. Anyways, I'll head out, guys. Have a good rest of your stream and talk to you later.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
We'll talk again.
Sounds good. Night.
Night.
Take care.
We have a ferret in the chat going, Scooberge!
He's that new kid that started streaming with us. He's a good kid. I like him.
Yeah, Ferret is a sweetie.
Yeah.
He recently started streaming with you?
Yeah, he started poking around because he was wondering why everyone disliked me so much. And I told him the problem is
We're staying away from
no,
that
I've
topic, though.
got it. Just told him the problem is I am who I am. I say what I say to who I'll say it to, and I don't care. And that's the whole problem is I was told there's rules, regulations, you gotta shake hands, you gotta kiss ass. I don't do none of that. So that's the notorious Scooby. I'm not a brown nose, so I'm ostracized. Whatever.
Well,
People's
you
losses.
have admitted many times that you can be an asshole.
It's my bread and butter and it runs through my veins. Yep.
Yeah. So at least that's a confirmation from the Scoob himself.
Yeah, I'm not malicious. That's the thing I get annoyed with people when they say that.
Kevin Dingle says business class is close to first class. Yes, it is, even though I'm traveling economy. Please pray for me. I'm not religious, but please pray for me.
Hey, you could always game how my ancestors came to this country, steerage.
Yeah. Flying Falcon says sub to Cali or else. It's still not written Cali. Anubis says Flying Falcon sub. Yes, we know. And Flying Falcon, no, I will not show you giving the middle finger. That is kept back by the filter. Maestro and Ferret are going back and forth with, no, I do what I want. Let's see. Hidden by MissOwley is not even two. I'm not sure what got hidden there. I wasn't at the bottom of the chat. Oh, you're referring to what you can see as you have a wrench. Yes, yes. That's the middle fingers. Yes. Rakis is calling Ferret a turd, and then Ferret goes only on days that end with Y. Let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wait, that's every day of the week. Every single weekday ends with a Y.
So let me ask you, while you're out here in New York,
yes,
what would you be interested in seeing most? You really want to go see that gaudy eyesore of a city, or would you rather go see things that are actually cool?
got a little list of places of interest.
All right, cool. I can tell you stuff that ain't on that list.
I'm sure you can, although I'll be focusing on this list first, as my funds are a little bit limited.
I'm talking about free stuff. Like, for example, there was a place here that they had. It was the Battle of New York, up over in Brooklyn Heights. And one of the places where Washington was encamped was out up over in Bayshore, New York. And there's a dog park up over there called Gardeners. I take my dog there every once in a while. And what it is across the street is Gardner Manor. And in Gardner Manor, that's the George Washington slept here house. And the park is where his troops were stationed while he was sleeping up in the house, because that's how they roll in America. The officers always got the house, and the troops would sleep out in the field. But I digress. There's that. You don't got to pay to go there. I think you got to give them like $1 donation or something to go up into the George Washington slept here house. There's the place up over in Bethpage. It's Colonial Bethpage. You go there, and it's the same that it was in the 16th century. Like, there's people churning butter and like cutting wood and using the blacksmithing with an anvil and a hammer. Horses and buggies. Out in Sag Harbor, that's all the way out east. That's out on, I think, the North Fork. You got the Whaling Museum, and that has to do with Long Island and Nantucket in Massachusetts used to be in direct competition with the whaling industry. So there's all sorts of stuff that we got around here. We got you can go up into Garden City, and we got the crazy.
Sorry for interrupting you. Maestra says, so quarter sized?
Huh?
Not quite sure what he's responding to, but he's asking. So, quarter sized?
Water sized?
Quarter.
Yeah, no, I'm not following what he means by water sized.
No. Quarter. Like in 1/4?
Oh, quarter sized.
Yeah.
What's quarter sized? I'm not. I
I
don't know
think
what he
we
means.
both got confused there.
Yeah.
he
If he
might
could.
be referring to the bird brain comments made by Falcon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't hear any bird brain comments that Falcon had made. But
Well, of course you didn't hear them. It was written.
I mean, you didn't read them, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. So I couldn't
He
even.
was saying it's all of them bird brain. And Meister says, yep, so it's probably about that comment.
All right.
Although you were talking about that area.
Which one? I was.
The one I interrupted you on.
Yeah, Garden City. That's what I was going to say. Since Falcon's in the chat, he'd appreciate this. We have what's called the Cradle of Aviation Museum. They got an SR-71 Blackbird. I think we got a plane up in there from the Tuskegee Airmen. We got one of the Apollo moon mission capsules. This is all directly next to an IMAX movie theater. And this is actually, they share grounds with Nassau Community College, the campus. And it's directly behind Roosevelt Field Mall up off of Zeckendorf Boulevard. Now, Roosevelt Field Mall is built on the spot where Charles Lindbergh flew with the Spirit of St. Louis from Roosevelt Field across the Atlantic. I think if someone in the chat could help me out, where did he land? Paris, right? Was it Paris he landed or London? I don't remember. I think he made it to Paris. Like I think he landed in a field outside of there. I don't remember. But,
although I would like to get some answers from my list of interesting places.
Which I'm just telling you. I just finished telling you the free stuff. So go ahead, lay it on me.
Yeah. I have heard some interesting things about Sparks Steakhouse. In which part of New York is Sparks Steakhouse? And
Brooklyn.
exactly what type of movies have been recorded there?
Well, it's in Brooklyn. And offhand, what movies have been? Oh God, there's so many movies that have just had like a quick scene in there, and there's other movies
Maestro says France. It was outside Paris, Scooby.
Okay.
But yeah, Sparks Steakhouse.
Yeah, it's in Brooklyn. A few movies have had scenes in there. I'll be honest with you. I wish my sister was here. She's the movie buff. I couldn't tell you.
Well, another part that is interesting is Central Park. They have horse carriages in Central Park, and Central Park horse carriages have also been featured in a lot of movies, especially love comedies and Christmas movies. Although I've also heard that it's pretty filled up with scammers. Is the scammers thing in Central Park a really huge issue?
This is news to me. I mean, look.
I checked out on the homepage of the services that does do the horse carriages, and they say that scammers are a big issue. Like, is it a huge issue when they need to put that on their homepage?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. If there's a guy there with a horse and a carriage, you talk to him about going on the horse. If somebody comes up to you and says, yo, I do the horses, you got to give me money, I'm going to set. Yeah, that's probably what they're talking about. I've never dealt with anybody. Like, there was one, I mean, I'm going to clean up my language as much as I can. I had a scammer come up to me once with the Central Park thing. I guess he thought I was from out of town. The minute I opened my mouth, immediately he backed up like this, and he's like, "Yo, I'm sorry, my bad." Because he came up to me and he tried to pull that, the scam where they tell you, "Yeah, I'm setting up the horses. Just you got to pay me up front, and I'm going to get you on the horse carriage." And I'm looking at him, I'm like, "Do I look to you like somebody that's going to go up onto that horse carriage?" And he's like, "Oh, yo, my bad. I didn't know you were local." Like, so that's probably what they're referring to. Yeah, if you're going to ever go on a carriage, you talk to the driver. You don't talk to nobody else.
Yeah, on the webpage it said that it's smarter to make the arrangement online, and that it would be picking one up outside the park because of the huge issue in the park.
You know what I'll do? I'll do this for you, Allie. Check this out. Give me 1 second. Excuse me 1 second, folks. I gotta disappear not too far though, so bear with me.
In the meantime, I'll be looking at the chat. Let's see. Flying Falcon, I wanted to go there. Wanted to go where? Flying Falcon? Paris? Ah, yes, Paris. Let's see. Flying Falcon competition requirements 33 and a half hours later. He did not sleep the night before. Ah, that's referring to the air travel trip. The Spirit barely got off the ground. And
You really want to go on that?
Hmm?
Sorry, finish what you're saying.
Yeah. Catmandingo the Third goes, this old boy is pure Guido. What does Guido mean?
Guido. I'm not pure Guido. I'm actually half Guido. My father's family. His
So
parents
it's more of a racial thing.
It's actually it's a bit of a slanderous term. I don't think he realizes it. Guido is actually a first name. It's kind of like calling a black guy a Tyrone or a Puerto Rican guy a Jesus. It's one of those things. Yeah, but I'm actually half Guido. My father's family was from his parents and his sisters were from Corleone, Sicily. They came through Ellis Island when Grandma was actually about 8.5 months pregnant with my father. My mother's Irish. She's actually an anchor baby because my grandfather snuck in here illegally from Ireland.
There's also a comment from Maestra. It's Italian. It's like Mook or Wop, Ginny. So I'm imagining.
Mook, Wop, or Guinea.
Dego. I know Dego. So
Yes.
it's basically weak, slanderous terms.
Right. And I'm not Italian. I'm Sicilian. There's a difference. Different language, different food, different culture. Now, what I was going to show you is do you really want to go on the carriage ride in Central Park? You've been talking about this. You got your heart set on it?
I don't really have my heart set on it. I might do that on the second trip to New York right before I return home.
Okay, here's the deal. If you really want to do that, I will go with you. And I can do this. You're not normally supposed to do this, but this was bequeathed to me by my father. Now, I don't usually take this thing because even though I'm a Teamster, you have to get...
I will have to stop you right there. I don't believe the chat and circles would be comfortable with that.
With what?
With knowing that I went with you.
Well, fine, you can meet me there. My point is, if you want to go on that horse carriage, what I would do is I would wear this. This is the old man's jacket. It's local 282 International Brotherhood of Teamsters. The horse carriages are run by the Teamsters. So basically, I'd walk up and I'd have this on, and they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, pal. You and your young lady hop on, no problem."
By the way, considering that shirt had a number on it, are those numbers directly related to a name? Because if so, I might have to clip that out afterwards.
It's the union, the Teamsters.
Yeah, I'm talking about the number on it.
That's what local division it is. Local 282.
Oh,
282.
Okay, so it's not really self-doxing.
Oh, doxing. No. I'm not worried about that. I don't think anyone in their right mind wants to screw with the Teamsters Union. It's the local 282 union. In 282, there's probably about a couple of thousand drivers easily. They're the ones who drive the cement mixers, the trucks that carry, like the crane carriers,
you're being
bulldozers.
backed up on this in the chat. Maestro says local 282 is a whole region. Okay, I was a little bit concerned there.
yeah. And it's the Teamsters Union. My point being is, all they do is they see the wagon wheel and the lapel, and that's what I'm saying. No one would scam you if they see me walking with you and I had on this jacket, because they'd be like, they would think because the blue and gold combination, they'd actually think I was a delegate there to check up on the carriages, and any scammers that would see me coming would actually turn around and go in the other direction because
That is
Yeah, it would frighten them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Other important sites are, for example, the Lady Liberty, the Freedom
Mm-hmm.
Towers, Trump Tower, Empire State Building. We are almost running out of time here. So, could you say a few quick anecdotes about those places?
Sure. Anecdotes. Let me
Yeah,
think.
short and sweet.
All right. I've been to the Empire State Building dozen times at least, maybe more. Usually, whenever somebody would come out of town, they drag me up on top of the thing. That's that's why I went there. Myself have never been to the Freedom Tower. I'll be completely honest. Um, it's buried on top of about 150 people I know personally, like from the neighborhood. That's the reason I haven't been there yet.
It
I've
was built on top of the area where the Twin Towers were, was it not?
Yeah. Uh, my neighborhood lost more people than anyone. Not that it's a competition, but we lost more people than anyone. The area where I live, altogether, I think Long Island, New York, lost something like between 400 and 600 people. And where I live, I think we lost close to 200 or 300. Um, I actually knew some of these people personally, so I myself have not been to the Freedom Tower yet. So if I did go, it would be the first time I've been there since it's been completed. Let me think. What else did you ask me about? The Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, Statue of
Um,
Liberty, Trump Tower, Empire State Building. You did say something about Empire State Building, so
yes,
Trump
been there a
Tower
few
and
times.
Lady Liberty. I do know that the ferry cost to the island and the entrance fee are two separate fees.
Yes, they are. They get you coming and they get you going, as they say around here.
Hmm.
Uh, what uh, what I can say about Trump Tower is I have been past. I have been inside. I've been up and around in the building a few times. Never bothered to try to go out onto the roof like with the Empire State Building. It just never crossed my mind. They're very tight on their security, so it's not like a place you can go and just walk around and do one of those. Oh wow, look at the architecture! No, they throw you out of there for that. Um, so I really haven't gone up into Trump Tower for too many things. The Statue of Liberty.
How is it that
Mhm.
they throw you out for commenting on the architecture? Do they suspect nefarious business?
No, you can't. First off, you can't just go walking up into the building. They're gonna stop you at the door. But in the off chance, like you're in there, if you just wandering around willy nilly, they're gonna go up to you. Sir, excuse me. They're gonna be on top of you. Uh, I can't say I blame them. New York's a place for wild people, so you have to have tight security like that. Um, you were
So,
asking
would
me
you
about.
recommend looking non-suspicious, or would you recommend going to the reception and asking politely if you could have a look around?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Every screwball, wingnut, lunatic from within a 50-mile radius goes there daily, and everyone within a 5,000-mile radius has tried to go there in the past 2 years. So that security is really tight. I would advise, if you really are interested, calling if their website doesn't have anything that lists it. It's one of those things. I'm not a tourist, so when I'm in Manhattan, I was doing stuff like I would walk past these buildings and not give any thought of going up into them. I can't even tell you how many times I've actually been leaning up against the Chrysler building, trying to light one of those left-handed cigarettes, just because the Chrysler
Left-handed
building,
cigarettes?
the types that don't have tobacco in them.
Ah,
So
like a
I'd be
vape.
sitting there. What?
Like a vape?
Nah, no, not like a vape. um,
The cultural difference is showing.
yes, yes. Wacky tobacco. Again, PG-13 because of your viewers.
Ah, the green leaf.
Yes, there you go. So, I'd be using the Chrysler building, or I'd go into Radio City, not Radio City Music Hall. What the hell is it? Rockefeller Center, because of the way it's designed over there. You go up and you lean up against the building to block the wind. Um, these are some of the greatest buildings on earth and some of the greatest architecture, but I'm using them to block a wind while I'm trying to light up a tube. That's just it's because I live here. I don't really notice things like this. Like I was looking up different statues, like when they were talking about all the statues they were tearing down, and I seen all these statues listed as being in Manhattan. I'm like, really? And I click on it, and I'm like, oh no shit, that's the name of that statue. Like I didn't even know who these statues were of. There's been tons of times I would, pop a squat, sit down underneath the statue, crack open an iced tea while I'm waiting for a cab or something, not know who the statue is of. And
Yeah,
that's a real
we
that.
have two other interesting
Mhm.
comments here. Maestro said, "No, it's terms of affection for the Italians. Yes, Sicilians are descendants of the Moors, hence the difference."
That very good.
And Cat Mandingo says, "Scooby snacks." Cute.
Yes.
You had a few things to say about Lady Liberty? We're
I
really running out of time here.
Yeah, I know. We're down to like 4 minutes. I myself have been inside the statue once. I made it up to the top of the pedestal and was about to go up into the statue, but it was student day, when they have all the field trips.
Mm.
And it took us about an hour just to get to the foot of the statue. And then I look up, and the statue itself was made by Monsieur Eiffel, the guy who made the Eiffel Tower. So it's a spiral staircase made out of wrought iron with sheets on the bottom of each piece, and it's suspended. And I'm in there, and all I hear is this thing going from all the weight of all the students on it. And I'm watching this staircase go like this. And I turned to my boy, and I'm like, "We made it up as high as I'm going." And he's like, "I wasn't going to say anything. I was waiting for you to say something." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, I ain't going to die in here. Look at this thing." I mean, especially there was this one, and God forgive me, there was this one girl we were with. Maron, was she immense? I was not getting on that staircase with that big broad. No way in hell.
I have two last questions before we
Mhm.
kind of end things. Chinatown and Little Italy, what kind of areas are these?
They're the same exact area. A lot of people don't realize that. You're talking about over off of Fulton Street.
Oh, so Chinatown and Little Italy are the same place? I thought they were two different areas that are quite close in distance.
Chinatown was here. Little Italy was here. Chinatown did this. It grew into and over and around Little Italy. Little Italy is
So that's what
probably
you meant.
Yeah, Little Italy is probably a block left where there's not too much Chinese encroachment.
Oh my, that's a little sad for the Italians.
Not really. Not really. You got to realize they pretty much own Staten Island. They pretty much own the outer boroughs, parts of Long
You
Island.
actually got a question from the chat here. Catman
Okay.
says, "Hey Scooby, you ever been in a fight with a few folks with brand tats?"
With who?
With someone with brand tattoos.
Brand?
Yeah.
You mean like branded? Like they had a brand on them?
Like
if
a
he-
particular tattoo.
If he's asking like if I've ever been in the mix with people that are like tattooed for different things, I used to work the door at a bar, so yeah, I've gotten into the mix with a few people.
Meister had a comment for that bigger broad you were talking about. He said, "Get her behind you so you have something to cushion your fall, Scoop."
I was thinking about that, but he'll appreciate when I say trebuchet. Yeah, that's the first thought that went through my head. Her behind me, that weight, the staircase going ass over tea kettle, and me getting flung out Lady Liberty's armpit up over, flying over the East River. That was the thing that's the thing I was concerned about.
Yeah, and Catman Dingo later on explained Aryan Brotherhood. He wants to know if you've been in a fight with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Oh.
Nazis.
Well, you can tell him. Well, he can hear me, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check this out. Where I live is called Lindenhurst. It's known as the Bund. Yeah, this is actually this was the number one destination in World War I and World War II. Afterwards, for expatriated Wehrmacht. We were famous for our Oktoberfest. The town sign even says "Welcome home" into. I know my German's horrible. To Lindenhurst. Yeah. So this neighborhood is full of Aryan Nation. It's full of Aryan Brotherhood, and it's full of Odinists.
There's another comment. Flying Falcon says, "That's wrought iron for you. It's actually very elastic." I think he's referring to the staircase not being as dangerous as it seems.
Yeah.
Although I did interrupt you on Chinatown and Little Italy. Did you have a few last sentences to say about that?
Yeah. Yeah, you go to Chinatown, Little Italy. Little Italy is it's still what it always was. It just got a little bit smaller.
Is it a particular time of day that would be better to visit that area?
Yeah, daytime, and I'll tell you why. You can't cross Fulton Street after dark if you're a Guaylo. They don't like them. A
White?
Guaylo for no, non-Chinese.
Ah,
Anyone. If you're not Chinese, you got to realize that part of Fulton Street, and it's gonna sound like I'm talking about a movie. It's you got your triads down there. You got your golden triangles. You got your red dragons. You got all your different gangs down there. You got your white tigers. Uh, I mean, they got all these different wild names. It sounds, comical, but these guys are legit. And yeah, you don't
so
go down there.
it's a bad area to be in after dark then.
Yeah, yeah, you don't want to go into Chinatown after dark.
Well,
And
we are. Let's see here. Almost exactly at the 2 hour mark. We did start up a few minutes late, so let's see here. Any last comments for the chat, or maybe the chat has a few questions about New York? About New York specifically? We'll have to wait and see if they have any. They need to type it up after they hear the question, of course.
All right. Well, if they have any questions, one of the things I can tell them right now while they're typing, I guess I could do a quick shill while we wait. This in about 11 days from now, it's going to be St. Patrick's Day. I finally have gotten my hands on a little bit of temporary equipment to start cutting better videos. So I'm going to be going in and trying to cover the St. Patty's Day this year. If it rains, I'm not going. I mean downpours. I mean a little bit of drizzling I'll deal with, but I mean I'm not standing out there in a downpour watching these poor people
You
get
say
rained on.
better camera equipment. Does that mean you are inviting the chat to come over and check out your channel?
Of course, anyone can come check out my channel. I basically just try to put up videos about the local area. I try to do commentary on things that I find a little bit far-fetched. It's got to be a real humdinger for me to cut a video about it because, people do like videos constantly. So I don't feel like competing with like 9, 10 other channels. But if it's really good, I'll do a video on it.
I did notice that on your channel you had a short and sweet video about a meal that looked rather peculiar. The chicken thing.
Oh, yeah. We went out for our anniversary, my wife and myself. That was chicken rollatini alla masala.
Yeah,
and
it looked a bit weird, but that could probably just be the light.
It's what that is.
The
That's
sauce
chicken.
looked really good.
Yeah, it's a brown mushroom gravy, and that's the reason that the chicken looks that way. It's actually cooked in it's braised basically in a wine sauce.
Ah, a white wine
Yeah.
for two?
No. I believe it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. So, yeah, it's a very, very interesting Italian dish. Usually, I think that they used to use like a marsala wine. Actually, that's why it's chicken marsala.
Ah.
So, but I think that this place uses a splash of Cabernet to give it that like authentic flavor because it has like a bit of an oakiness to it.
I need to read the last few comments now. Meister goes, RFOL, basically rolling on the floor laughing. Oh my god, dying. Captain Dingo says, dude, I don't give 0 Fs about fighting anyone from the internet. I'm going off AP Scooby Snacks. Okay. Shout out to AP. Captain Dingo says, Asian kind of suck. Let's see here. Captain Dingo says K14, no matter what that is. Flying Falcon says, remember Scooby? In German, pronounce W as V. That is right, even though he says that came out wrong. Remove remember. Okay, Scooby in German, pronounce W as V.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, Captain Dingo says, Dallas has K14 triads. Chicken Marsala is alpha as F. So apparently he likes that meal. Now, since there doesn't appear to be any questions relating to New York, do you have a few last words to the chat before we close?
Yeah, definitely. Anyone who wants to come out here to visit New York, don't bother going to Manhattan. seriously, you're going to waste your time. If
And
unless
money.
you're yeah, and money. Unless you want to go and check out the tall buildings and the architecture, that's one thing. Otherwise, most of the best food, most of the best shopping, you're better off going to Brooklyn and Queens, the outer boroughs. All of the best nightclubs, all of the best restaurants are out on Long Island. I mean, Manhattan at this point, it's for the super rich elite. Uh, like
And we're at the
seriously,
2 hour mark.
yeah. I'm sorry.
We are at the 2 hour mark.
Oh, I guess then we're done.
Yeah. So, people, thank you for coming. And please check out Kelly Day's YouTube. Her YouTube link is in the description. And so is the link for our last guest for the day. I will be keeping you all updated about my trip as it goes. And I will be vlogging, which means you will be able to see my face more. Woohoo!
And they're very
So,
lucky
yeah.
for it.
So yeah, as always, I will hoot at you later, and thanks for coming by. Bye
Have a good night,
bye.
chat.